Hi and welcome to Chiki Richo in Malaysia. We're in Kuala Lumpur at the moment in a lovely hotel and we've decided to make chicken and noodles just using 3 ingredients. We've got a little bit of salad to serve it with as a garnish, and we've got some garlic flavoured mee goreng noodles, a couple of eggs and some chicken. We aren't going to use any fat and we aren't going to remove any of the skin or the fat off the chicken because that is what's going to give it all of its flavour, which is not the healthiest idea, but it is going to brown, sear and caramelise our chicken, invoking a reaction called the Maillard reaction, which will give it a nice crispy, delicious meaty flavour. We've put our pan onto quite a high heat and we're going to sear our chicken, send in our eggs with our noodles. We're going to be using just some 2-minute noodles and they've got a flavour sachet in there, I'm hoping, and that is going to be our flavour because it's actually garlic flavoured sachet. That's 2 actually, 3, goodness knows what that all is. Okay, onto our pan with our chicken and we'll get that nice and brown. Pop the lid on it and it'll steam at the same time. Over the pan we go. Okay, skin side down, it'll sear as soon as it hits. Release the fat from the skin. This has actually got bones in it, that's the way they serve it up here. Ooh, that's the way they serve it up here. Okay, once it starts to brown, you will see that the skin has become quite crispy and it's not stuck at all. It's releasing the fat into the dish. We'll be tipping some of that fat off because you don't need to eat that. It'll have done this job by then, and you can see how nice and crispy that is. And it's not sticking at all without any fat having gone into the pan. If you go to turn it over and it's stuck, leave it a little longer and it will actually release. But I'm not sure why it does that, but if you're turning it and it's stuck, you're turning it too soon. So we can turn these over, get a bit of colour on the other side. Pan's quite lubricated now. Right, we just pop the lid on now and let that steam a little bit until it's almost cooked through. We've turned the heat down to about a medium heat. Okay, we just empty our seasonings, which are little garlic chunks and some other powder, with our chili sauce, our soy sauce and some other stuff, I don't know what it is, into a bowl. We're not actually following the instructions that come with the packet because we're doing something a little bit different, so just squeeze all the seasonings into a bowl because this is the only flavour that we're going to be able to add, bar a bit of salt and pepper, to our chicken noodle dish. Just squeeze all that out, boil some water. We only need about a cup of the water and we're going to leave that water on the noodles, and that's going to sort of poach our eggs and steam our chicken. Okay, our water's boiled now. We're just going to get a cup of water, tip it in on top of our seasonings and dissolve them. That'll rehydrate those little chunks of garlic and send in, dissolve that. Smelling good already. And just send in our noodles. Don't need to break them up. You can make a meal of these noodles on their own, but this is going to make it so much better. Let's get those wet. They're not going to cook until I put them in with the chicken, but I want to drain the fat or the excess fat off the chicken first. We'll just leave them sit in that boiling water for a few minutes. Okay, we've just drained the fat off that chicken. We're going to remove it now, place it on a plate. It's almost cooked. That's a clean plate, by the way. Never use fresh raw chicken plates with cooked chicken because the cross-contamination can make you really quite ill. The fork has also been cleaned. Really quite tender because of the steaming effect as well. And those pan juices are going to contribute to the sauce. So it's in with our noodles now that aren't really cooked, but we're going to pop those in anyway. With our little chunks, just turn that down. We want those to loosen up and to soften enough to accept our eggs, because the eggs are going to go in and be sort of poached on top of it, and the chicken slid in on top of it as well. So just pop the lid back on that for a minute or so, just until those noodles have softened. Okay, they've softened up quite a bit now. We're just going to crack an egg in on the side in that sauce and it will actually poach. Quite pale eggs here in Malaysia. I don't know what they feed them. The shells are nice and hard though. This is quite an economical dish. We're just going to put our chicken back in on top of that now with any juice that's leaked out of it. Pop the lid on it to just slightly set those eggs on top, and it is ready to serve with our little bit of salad. You could have this with bread, vegetables, chips. And there you have it, Cheeky Richos, 3 ingredient. That's the lovely pan juices there. Don't waste those. That's liquid gold. And pop the lid on just to lightly set those eggs on top. Okay, just check the chicken. There. Just check that your chicken is cooked and any juices that are running are quite clear. The egg is nice and softly poached now, and the noodles have rehydrated and it's ready to serve. Let's turn the power off. Okay, so we just remove our chicken now, which is really hot. Beautifully cooked, it's really tender. And lots of flavour in that skin. There's a lot here. Scoop our noodles away from our egg. There's no tongs here, so I've just got to sort of get these out as best I can. But when you're traveling, you don't want to be buying bottles of sauces and things because it's expensive and you're going to have a lot of waste. So if you can get something that already has a pre-made flavour sachet in it, it'll make it a lot more economical and it's a lot easier to use. Plus you can regulate how much spice is involved by selecting the correct flavouring for your particular dish. Just get our egg out. Softly poached. Smelling pretty grand. We've had a big day in the pool and walking around the city today. Don't worry about the fact that this isn't thickened at all. If you wanted to, you could reduce it down a bit on the stove top, but it's going to provide a nice juicy gravy for our chicken. And there you have it. Cheeky Richos, 3 ingredient, travel chicken and noodles. Just because you're on holidays, it doesn't mean that you can forget about your presentation. Just tidy up your plate a little bit with some paper towel or a tissue, whatever you happen to have. A little sprinkle of pepper. I'm using a sachet because same thing, that's all I have. And I'm just going to put a little squeeze of mayonnaise onto our lettuce because we actually have to use this little sachet up. That's it. Looking pretty good, eh? Cheeky Richos, 3 ingredient, travel, chicken and noodles. A taste, shall we? Oh, yummy. This method of cooking keeps the chicken very, very moist. That's gorgeous. Thanks for watching.